we're beginning to discuss types of punctuation that have multi-jobs, and some of them overlap. In fact, some of the symbols look like each other too. The N dash that we just discussed in a former video and the hyphen look very much alike, but their jobs are different. The hyphen actually separates words that are usually used in groups, 2 or 3 words together. In this case, mother-in-law is a hyphenated spelling. Daughter-in-law, you could extrapolate that father-in-law and brother-in-law would also be hyphenated like these. It would look very odd if we put great and grandfather and didn't have a space between them as one word. And if you leave the hyphen out, it would sound like you had a really cool grandfather. My grandfather is great. But a great hyphen grandfather, great-grandfather, is actually generational. Here we have the hyphen used in the word jack-o'-lantern. And it's very often used when 2 words are together to describe a noun, as in 18th century music. That's called a hyphen, and it has a few other uses as well. The hyphen is one of those punctuation marks that's kind of morphed over the years. Some of the rules that were current years ago are not used anymore. And my guess is that some kinds of the punctuation marks that we're using today may change in the future as well. If your teacher is teaching this differently, or if the textbooks or the tests that you're taking have different rules to it, I advise you to comply with those so you can get your points. But at this point in time, the hyphen is used between 2 numbers, like 32 or 1/2 inch, when they go together like that. This is where it gets kind of crazy too. When you have a prefix like re and hook it on to elected, you can see that the E in re is kind of doubled here because elected starts with an E. So if we were to put those 2 together, that word would look kind of confusing. Is it real elected? So a hyphen is used in there for clarity. Here's another one where the I in anti is the same as the I in inflammatory. So to put it together, you'd have a double I. They usually put a hyphen in there for clarity. But when we get to cooperation, the O in the CO, the prefix, is the same as the beginning letter of operation. But there is no hyphen in that one. And the same thing happens here with pre-exist. Notice that pre ends in an E, exist starts with an E, but there's no hyphen there. So sometimes the hyphen is present and sometimes the hyphen is not. And I would never be able to teach you every single word that has this situation. So you'll have to do a little research on this when you run up against this problem. But notice that the spelling of it had the hyphen in it because the 2 letters repeated.